In 1925, Percy Harrison Fawcett, a captain in the British Royal Army from the National Library of Brazil, finding a book. The name of that document was Manuscript 512. It is believed to have been written by a Portuguese explorer, but for a long time no one knows exactly who wrote it. However, what surprised him the most were the words written on it. It referred to lost cities. What are the great lost cities? Metropolises, as we know them, are places where a complex civilization lived. What is this complex civilization? We know a few have one job and a few have another job. We have places of worship. We have places to gather. We are not cavemen. We are people living in a complex civilization. Similarly, in ancient times, Harappa, Mesopotamia, and Egypt all had many great cities, but many of them still remain undiscovered. He is talking about a place in it. Manuscript 512 says, "In such great cities there are great statues, shrines, temples, ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, and great arches." Percy Fawcett, who has read these things, continues to read them. It spoke of the golden city of the lost metropolises, about El Dorado, a city of gold that is still undiscovered by modern man, with plenty of gold. But there were no clues written on it as to where it was. Manuscript 512 was not written down. But Percy Fawcett is surprised by this. The reason was none other than that he was also an investigator. He went to many parts of the world, especially the Amazon rainforest, and mapped all the areas that had not been mapped for so long. During all these travels, Percy Fawcett hears many stories. Important among them was the lost city of gold. The question of where it was often haunted his heart. He had prepared a note keeping all the things he had heard and experienced. In all of that, he named the city the Lost City of Z. Manuscript 512 also says the same about it, but Percy Fawcett guesses where it might be based on his experiences. Of course, it might be in the part of the Amazon rainforest, he thinks. But getting there is not easy. It is a land that has not been touched by modern man until today. There is a lot of gold there, should go there. He is starting the journey with his son and his son's friend. But the journey ended with many mysteries left behind. Welcome back, this is Third Eye. Today I am going to tell you the true story of Percy Fawcett, who set out to find the lost city of Z. Percy Fawcett was born on the 18th of August, 1867 in Torquay, Devon, England, to Edward Boyd Fawcett and Myra Elizabeth. His father was an officer in the British Army. His father was born in British India. At that time, India was ruled by the British, so all his father's major activities were in British India. Whatever Percy Fawcett was studied in England. He had a brother who was fond of adventurous journeys. He loved adventure travel. His favorite thing was to conquer big mountains. He also wrote adventure novels. That is, Percy Fawcett's brother was an adventurer, and his father was an army officer in the British Army, so he had a good interest in adventurous things due to his family situation. From his childhood, he wanted to join the army. As a part of that, he gets admission in the British Royal Military Academy. The goal is to study from there and become an officer in the army. He is studying well and is entering lieutenant rank in the army. Before he joining on army, his father had another important pastime. His father was a member of the British Royal Geographical Society. It is not a place where everyone can get a membership. If you want to get membership in the Royal Geographical Society, you should have enough geography-related knowledge and be willing to do studies. However, like his father, Percy Fawcett has a keen interest in geography. It is considered a mystical area in those days. The reason is that there were no satellites in the sky at that time, and no instrumental images of the Earth were ever discovered, so you can see on the maps the places that people have gone and recorded. Many regions of the Earth were still alien to science. So many people took interest in geography as it was considered as a very adventurous field, and it was considered a very adventurous task to go to many places in and record all those places on the map. Anyway, the year is 1901. He has been promoted from lieutenant to captain. Apart from that, he is taking membership in the Royal Geographical Society of England, where his father worked. His interest was in mapping and surveying. At that time, his marriage is over. After some training in 1906, the Royal Geographical Society sent him on his first expedition. It is sent to the jungle between Brazil and Bolivia. The British and the rest of the world have don't know knowledge of what exactly is there and what species there are. That is why they go to that forest. He and his assistants go to that forest and do all the necessary things and precisely map the area. It is also said that he found two strange creatures there. He was the first to discover large-sized spiders. It is also said that he saw dogs like cats. After this expedition, he is very interested in maping and expeditions because it was considered national service. The reason is that it is important for the army to know the important places of the world. Apart from that, it is also a time when the British are conquering many parts of the world. If there is significant wealth, all the British can go there and get a colony. Therefore, considering this as a national service, he is going to various places and conducting expeditions. If we look from 1906 to 1924, he is conducting 7 expeditions. It is the mission of their team to go to places where the world does not know what is there and what dangers are lurking in the places that people do not know for the first time, collect information about that area and prepare a map of it. He does all these things with great skill and precision. Being a very smart army officer, he is given new duties by the army as he becomes a captain, the most important of which was membership of the British spy organization. That membership was also working in South Africa. It was around this time that he befriended Arthur Conan Doyle. He is a famous writer who has written many novels and written great books and written historical books, but it was his work Sherlock Holmes that made him most famous. Lost World was another book of Conan Doyle. What helped him was a field report called Amazonian, written by our Percy Fawcett. All the things found in the Amazon jungle can be added to these novels because these jungle contained secrets that were not known to the world until then. The novel becomes even better when it captures the original writings of someone who went there and prepared a field report. Those things are done very expertly by Conan Doyle. But these things are said now only to say that this soldier was not a very trifling man. However, Percy Force begins his expeditions at 1906. If we look at 1906 to 24, he went to places that the world has never seen for 7 times. He never had any fatal accidents. He has done all the work assigned to him very accurately. But in all those trips, he gets many experiences. There are many stories to be heard. In all those stories, the one that surprised him the most was the lost city of Z, which he named after himself. Where is that city of gold? In fact, it was in 1911 that he heard more about this lost city of gold. He went on a trip to map 100 miles of the Amazon rainfall miles. He is traveling with 2 friends to map 100 miles. He had a lot of experiences in that journey. He learns that there is a place called the Lost City of Z. When he puts together the stories he heard on his previous travels and the stories he heard on this trip, it occurred to him at once that it must be somewhere deep within the Amazon jungle, but mapping 100 miles accurately, and even though that one mission was accomplished accurately, none of these 3 men couldn't find the city of gold. But the question still haunts him is, where is this lost city? A complex civilization once lived on this earth, and they left behind a great city that still hasn't been found by modern man. If we go there, there will be lots of gold and secrets. It is also likely to greatly advance the life of modern man. But he does not understand where this place is. As we said at the beginning, in 1921, while chasing questions about the Golden City, he got a document called Manuscript 512 from a national museum in Brazil. In that document, it is clearly written about accessing the lost cities. He blindly believes and decides to go on a trip for that purpose. For so long, he only had hearsay, but an acquaintance wrote that there is a city like this, so he is preparing to go on a journey that he believed. But we must note that there was no indication in that one book as to where this great city was. He prepares to go on this journey by calling this lost city where he might be based on his past experiences. However, after reading that one book, he starts his search for this lost city of gold in 1921. But as the journey progresses, he realizes one thing, that modern man has not reached this city for any other reason. It is complicated. The journey is not easy. He cannot go alone, but he is making an effort. As the journey progresses, he is even suffering from diseases. After coming down with a strong fever, he realizes that he can no longer put forward a good fight and abandons the journey. But there was a burning desire in his mind to find this city of gold. When he went on that journey, he realized some things that he cannot go alone. He needs a lot of help. He needs good money. He needs good courage. Maybe the journey will not end in the right way. However, he is waiting in 1924 when an organization said to be based in England is ready to fund him. They told him that we will give so much funds and you will find that golden city, because he was able to convince them. Percy Fawcett is ready to travel with his son Jack and Jack's best friend Rimmel. The trip to the Amazon jungle is difficult to go alone and without any supplies. Therefore, they have all the necessary items for surveying in the forest. Compass, sextant, an instrument with a graduated arc of 60 degrees, and a sighting mechanism, used for measuring the angular distances between objects and especially for taking altitudes in navigation and surveying. Similarly, they carry 2 workers, 2 horses, and 8 donkeys. And so begins this journey. Evidence has been obtained that they arrived at Dead Horse Camp on April 20th. He named this Dead Horse Camp himself because when he went on a trip in 1921, one of his horses lay dead there, hence the name Dead Horse Camp. When they arrived there, Percy Fawcett were writing a letter. The reason was that when they reached there, they saw a man who lived locally, and this letter was handed to him. This letter reaches his wife after a long time, Percy Fawcett, wife. In that letter, it was nothing else but the 3 of us are moving forward. That means maybe 2 horses, 2 workers, and 8 donkeys are not ahead. If so, what happened to them? It doesn't say anything about that. He wrote such a letter to inform his wife that apart from the leeches about his son's friend named Ramal, we have no other physical problems and the son is all right. Don't think that the place called Dead Horse Camp is in the middle of the forest where a man came and gave a letter to his wife. He is writing this letter in a place where all the people are, and after that he is going on his journey. But this story ends here, and there's no point in feeling angry with me. We have heard some survey stories and told in this channel itself. We have heard stories of people who have gone through extreme situations and survived and come back. But in this story, the 3 people who went on this journey never came back. To this day, no one has been able to figure out what happened to them, so those stories are not known to anyone. That one letter was the only communication from the last 3 departed. The outside world has no idea what happened to them after that. Even the government is writing that they are missing. But many people who traveled there have often claimed to have seen their dead bodies and bones, but it is still not accepted as a reliable proof. That is, the lost city of C, where Percy Faust and his son and his friend, who set out to find it, have disappeared somewhere in that jungle. What happened to them? You can write the things you think in your imagination as comments. Based on this true incident, there is a movie called Lost City of Z. In the movie, not only the things that actually happened are told, but a lot of fictional things are added. So often when you watch the movie and listen to what I have said, you feel that the 2 are different. One is only natural because we in this are only talking about things that actually happened. When it comes to movies, they add some fiction to make it a bit more fun to watch. Be sure to comment with your thoughts on this story that ended the mystery. Whatever it is, write a comment if you like it, and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. It's me, Third Eye, signing off.